Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode on Sharmila Talkies. Today, I will be talking to Ashutosh Sharma, who's currently the engineering director at Myntra. He has vast experience in the industry with 20 plus years of experience, and we get to learn a lot from him from the platform engineering perspective. Without further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, Ashutosh. Very good morning. How are you
Hey,
doing
Shamila.
today?
Good morning. Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. Thank you so much. It's going to be a talk about your career journey from the lessons learned and what's your experience been. So, there could be some great takeaways for others who are new in the industry and who would want to excel.
Sure. So I have been in the industry for last almost 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and quite some time I spent in Bangalore. I think more than 12, 13 years I'm in Bangalore.
Okay.
Currently I'm working for Myntra, and
Yep.
previously I have been with Samsung R&D, Yahoo at Bangalore, and a few more companies at 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 Pune. So I spent some time in career at Pune. So throughout my career, I've been into a domain which is has different names over the period. Uh, Started with the system engineering, then goes to production engineering at Yahoo, and then came into a world SRE, DevOps, you name it, right? So today we call it platform engineering for various purposes. So my experience has been there. In each phase of my career, I've been ICs and worked in a different domain from a SaaS platforms, and I went to big data also. And for last 8 years, I'm helping individuals to, or basically working with individuals to play a role of a people manager, I would say, or maybe a leadership role which I'm performing as of today. So last years I'm in this particular role in Samsung R&D. My journey started, and now at Yahoo at Myntra. So throughout my career, I've seen a lot of changes in this domain. Yeah, so it's has been challenging and fulfilling for me. So that's all me.
Sure. I think that's a very rich experience. Like you said, you kind of summarized it as platform engineering, but you've kind of touched every possible domain that's in engineering, right? So yeah, I think we would have quite a lot to hear from you. So let's go ahead and kind of quickly get started on this. Thank you for that quick introduction. And so the first question on this would be, what kind of motivated you to pursue a career in platform and infrastructure engineering, right? And how has your passion evolved over the years? Given that, like what you just said, it's been various roles that you've been doing, and then today is how it is that you've reached where you are today, right? So if you can kind of give a gist of the entire one.
Sure. So the platform engineering, the beauty of it lies into its multifaceted nature. So this particular domain, right? It doesn't have boundaries, so it encompasses and crosses across entire all verticals of software engineering, whether it's your hardware side, which is your computer systems. Uh, Kids, many of the engineering course can relate it like CSO sort of subject they have studied, right? Then it encompasses and captures the essence of your operating system, networking, security, compliance. So breadth is quite wide here. There is no boundaries where you can restrict your learning to. And when I was a fresher, right, that was very clear to me. I was looking something which I can relate to from my background, what I studied, and secondly, it gave me ample opportunities to learn. So I didn't want to go in a specific domain and excel over there. I want to learn everything. I don't know why, but that's how I was, right? And this is a thing where I'd never seen a boundary where sky was the limit or sky is the limit, right? As I mentioned, it touches all the aspects. So this is the what actually motivated and fascinated, I would say more, where the challenges which I have faced or I have been facing today also, right? Uh, there are many ways to solve it. That's the beauty of it. And you have to pick the best out of it and optimal solution out of it. When we're talking about challenges, these challenges encompassing all the verticals and touching everyday life of many people. and the scale at which these particular systems are working, which we develop more, which I have developed also in the past, and currently I'm supporting my team to develop it, building and maintaining. Right, this is humongous, right? So it is
Mm-hmm.
not restricted particular domain. It is a very horizontal in nature. You go in any particular domain of business, you can apply those learnings and experiences as well. At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, you learn the domain of that particular business, and you can reapply and reinvent, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and, and and recreate things as and when you go the problem you face it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the dynamicity of this entire thing, right, is what has been always kept me on the edge. And I believe this is the reason that I'm here. Because if you ask me to just focus on a domain, a business domain specifically, and just keep on doing things over there, I feel personally that I find myself that I may not go along, or things become mundane in some time. So this is the thing, that dynamism, the challenges, the scale, touching every aspect of software engineering, right? And the learning never stops, right? So these are few things which I can relate to, and which kept me motivated throughout my journey in this particular field.
Okay. So I think it's to encompass it, right? You like exploring various areas, saying, sky is the limit. And kind of, I think, a very nice point that you mentioned is to kind of reapply and reinvent. So learning in one area, it kind of tweak it to meet the
Yeah.
exact requirements in another area, right? If that's what has to be summarized. Okay. That was very well said in a very crisp way. Thank you so much for that. Okay. And so, moving on to the second question, right? Since you have such a rich work experience across various domains, right? Can you share a challenging project that you've led in terms of architecting, and implementing solutions? And what were the key strategies that contributed for its success?
Uh, sure. So there have been multiple projects, right, which I've been
Mm-hmm.
part of it, uh, and some of them I also led.
Mm-hmm.
Some are very rich in my mind right now, because we recently did a lot of complex and big projects at Myntra.
Mm-hmm.
However, I want to touch upon a project in a very generic way for this particular conversation, so that I can
Sure.
relate all the fields which I just
Sure.
spoken.
Mm-hmm.
And the recipe usually remains the same. However, how to solve, as I mentioned, that there are multiple ways to solve a problem. That is
Mm-hmm.
a richness, and the flexibility you get in this particular field can vary.
Mm-hmm.
So, like at Samsung also and various organizations. So basically, I've been always work where the model is always SaaS, software as a service. So
Mm-hmm.
there are always a need of building something. There's always a need of posting something,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly these things were into B2C domain,
Mm-hmm.
where with one change, with one product, we are touching lives of many people.
Right.
Like whether currently in e-commerce in Samsung also, I work with SPAS, or I would say S we have this services which you can draw and things. Health, Samsung Health is one of the biggest service which I was part of it, and everywhere it was a thing that we're touching millions of lives in one point. So, which leads to the question of it, how you do it, because we are talking about millions of people. We are talking about hundreds of features which people can access through that particular service which is hosted. And what are challenges which usually people faces, or I have faced myself. So we'll focus on that one, which I feel that is encompasses a lot of challenges people can have seen outside as well. So, so one of the project where I have to implement this particular platform, a SaaS-based platform, and the the challenges were, it was multi-region requirement. Like it has to be accessed not only by people in specific location or geography, it has to be multi-geography thing. So I'm talking about the challenges which were there in designing side of it, or architecting side of it. Second challenges was that it was targeting. millions of people. So I'm talking about sometime before Myntra time. And right. And third thing was the skill was pretty massive. It's a very large scale. And the data which we collect and generate was pretty massive as well. So there were two parts of it. One was serving the functionality to users. Let's talk about, let's say, health application. And that serving is via mobile app as well as there's a website also, very visually designed website. And the second part of it was related to collection of lot of data which can be used to understand the user's behavior and take some actions on top of it. And so that was a separate flow altogether. And this particular application has to comply with the law of the land as well. So I'm talking about his compliance and security part of it. It has to be secure because it is being accessed and people living in Europe, US, anywhere and wherever people are there. There was no restriction, but the application has to be very, very restricted. You should understand whether who is accessing it from which particular location. So, so if you see, right, I just try to give a summary of a lot of challenges for this particular service. It is just not one. The multi-geography, the scale, the data, the ingestion, the features, and features should understand that a particular feature which is allowed to access to be available in India, most likely that may not be available in Europe because of the rules are different over there and the data collection. Although being an organization tried to implement the best of policies across all geographies, however, there could be some exception which can come from places to places. So this is where, right? So the designing a system for such a scale, such a complex requirement and complex dependencies, the major hurdles were about choosing the software stack uh, because it the first principle was like we can always develop the feature, right? But would be possible to maintain in the longer run or not? So how to choose a tech stack, right? That was the biggest challenge, right? That should be the resource, the skill should be available. You should uh, be stable. It's not like something new we're just trying out because such a scale you can't take risk for choosing new libraries, new platforms. It has to be well proven one. Third is related to the where how you define the scale of it, right? So for transitional system where user interacting day in day out, what should the tech stack and not? Definitely we go for with transitional system which are pretty stable and could take a lot of load and scale one like I'll say like MySQL type of things. However, for non-transitional system, right? How to ensure that the users get a seamless experience, right? So at the time, uh, when I was working on such systems, there was definitely a lot of influx of event-driven architecture using tools like Kafka and things. Before that, I know remember like we were not thinking about event-driven, and we were quite engineering was quite at different level, right? But here, event-driven architecture was taking a front seat where we want to give a seamless experience. At the same time, we want to tell users that you given a request, we'll take care of it after that. Right? So such level of assurance is there. People don't have to retries anything because things came on app, not on website. Earlier it was on website, you always click and refresh, but app, a little bit of different type of experience is required. So that is one. So so I'm just touching multiple things. I'll jump here and there, but I'll try to give a smooth transition from building until we go in maintenance mode. Now choosing a tech stack. Now where to host it also, this is important. Now cloud was like sort of they were pretty much available. Only one cloud was at that time when it was there. Now we have multiple options right now. So that cloud we chose because it has a presence multi data center. We don't have to upfront invest into taking a space in data center, purchasing hardware, security hardware, servers, right? We didn't have to do anything because they have the data center set up with cloud vendor, and it's easier for us to even kick off this particular project. So we chose the cloud rather going with the data center with the product. And since it got to be a multi-geographical location thing, so definitely we went ahead and took services because these specialized needs we can't develop those things like global load balancing. We have to have it. We need to have it web application firewall which works at that layer throughout the geographies in a distributed fashion. The data stores which I was talking about, which was collecting data, the separate flow has to be very distributed and collect data and put somewhere where analytics can be done by analytics team. Okay. So after considering all these considerations, the various things were chosen by the tech stack, then cloud platform, the security aspect of it, and then development was started. But uh, and then comes the other part of it. This is basically we call it day zero, and then when comes of day one where we start a beta. That time you used to have to think about day zero, and for that there's a lot of things which we call that non-functional requirements. So those things come into picture. So it's more about measuring the performance of the application, measuring the experience of the users, measuring the availability of systems, which we call uptime, availability, and many parameters as saturation, and many things are there. So today, if you go and talk internet, a lot of things are very systemized. They were not systemized at that point.
Right, right.
How to measure a system and how to measure an application. There have been a theories through experiences we implemented, and the tools were not very distributed in collecting those data and doing real-time monitoring. So definitely there was a lot of effort went into re-enhancing those tools, rather re-enhancing, creating a plugins for certain things which were not available for monitoring. So that's a third piece sort of which was happening in parallel. But important aspect because to give a seamless experience, you have to monitor all the touch points where users are coming in. Now, this sounds to be a recipe, but it is not that simple. The major aspect of any such complex project is the people. So, people, what I wanted to say that is collaboration.
Yeah.
So that such a project at a massive scale doesn't run without involvement of leadership.
Right.
People from different departments,
Yeah.
whether it's a product, business, or it is someone who is funding it, right? Uh, so this is complex ecosystem, right? And people have a lot of thoughts about it. They have a lot of usually it is not different. It's today also like if someone owns some product, right, they have really a strong opinion about it, right?
Right.
Even though they don't have an experience about it. But they are very passionate about that product, that thing which is getting developed, and they want to be cautious about what is being developed and how it is to be monitored, right? So that comes about collaboration and project management part of it.
Right, right.
So I want to touch upon this part, beside technical aspects, right? Because project management is not meant for people who do some sort of certification. It is meant for every engineer, every manager. Uh, if they, I say like, if we want to be successful, right, we need to know how to plan things,
Right.
how to deal with the people, even architects too, right? They are some sort of product manager because they need to analyze the features. Analysis, I'm saying, not only just designing aspect of it.
Right, right.
They need to know how to navigate within the organization uh, to get things done, what they are planning or designing to. It is not left for someone called people manager, right? So this is an important aspect, right? Which people need to learn from whenever they're coming in, right? So project management and planning, creating a milestones, dividing the task, negotiating on each of the things, and being on top of it, right? Proactiveness. Yeah, it's a good learning organic one for me because It's alternate like as and when I progress. And things got delayed also because I did not anticipate a lot of things. And that's the right part of it because this is what we were supposed to do, right? We were just learning over the job while we are implementing it. So I would say it's a big transition after I move out of Yahoo, went to Samsung R&D and leading projects, leading people, architecting at the same time, and dealing with multiple hierarchies within and across Samsung. Right? Samsung. So it's a rich experience where a lot of turnaround came from by collaborating with the people and help and collaborating with them to make the decision right at the right time. So eventually it did not happen. It happened eventually, slowly, but yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. I think that was great, Ashutosh. I think the most important factors that you touched upon, right? So, for example, I know people love building features and which help their customers, but the factor that you actually mentioned is the third key point is you build it today, but how are you going to maintain in the long run is such a key thing, right? I have been in companies where they build it for now. 2 years down the line, there's nobody who can run that and maintain that for various reasons, right? Either they're not with the same company or the teams have moved or whatever reasons. So I think that was very nice that you actually touched upon the point saying analysis is key, where you should also kind of concentrate on maintaining that going forward while you're also building while doing the architecture and when you're working on building great features as well, right? And a couple of other things that you mentioned was you know uh, the most important thing that you said about collaborating and planning and doing things with the right at the right time, right? I think that is one of the key factors, because I think with when you're working with different teams, sometimes engineering looks at it only from an engineering perspective, uh,
Yeah. Mhm.
and then there's a business team which has a different perspective, right? And finally you have the customer care agents or the CX agents who are actually dealing with the actual use
They're,
of.
they're under the fire directly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, so everyone is so passionate about what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So, so when it comes on one table, when everyone is discussing things, right, and you see that things are heating up, it is not about they want to oppose each one of them. It's more about they're more passionate about what they want. So
Right.
this is where right this entire culture of DevOps came into picture, right? Where you say don't fight later, just decide right away. It doesn't matter your business, product, customer care, or you are from engineering or
Right.
program or whatsoever, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe you are representing the highest authority, and your job is to ensure that the authorities are aware of it, what is happening or not, right?
Yeah.
Be available right now, be collaborative, right? So don't bring surprises to anyone later. So end of the day is more about having the right construct of a team comprises of multiple skill set, multiple people from different departments, at least at a level where they are taking decisions, right, and
Yeah.
passing decisions to other teams which are actually executing things on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a good recipe to avoid any confrontation and collaboration. We usually don't use team in the right sense. Even today also, everyone is a team, which is not the right thing. A team, we know, right, is they work together, they know each other, they know what they anticipate next move of other members also, right? So that's how a team should function. Right? But
Right.
yeah, yeah. So this was not there when I was working on such projects at that moment. But yeah, lot of things I learned over the period.
Yeah. 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 I think that was a key call out that you mentioned, right? Working with people together at the right time and having that agreement, only then it's like a win-win for everybody, right? Instead of just working
Yeah.
in silos saying this is what it is. Yeah, great, great. So you have your own learnings from this, I believe, given that it was like everything put together in one place, right? People management, architecting, collaborating, right? From a customer's point of view. Great. Cool. Thank you so much for that. Uh, moving on to the next question. Okay, so moving on to the next question, Ashutosh. So, how do you kind of stay updated with the latest trends and technologies in your field, and how have these advancements influenced your approach to designing scalable and robust platforms? with always
It's
evolving.
not difficult. Yeah, it is always evolving. That is the beauty of it, and that's a challenging part uh,
Right.
of platform engineering. There are hundreds of things out there. Right? So fundamentally, first thing is that nothing you can't progress, you can't learn in isolation. You have to be very, very collaborative and aware of what is happening outside. So for that, first thing is people can subscribe to blogs. There are pretty good blogs around where people are writing. Maybe there you can subscribe to few people who are in the your industry on the Medium or some other blogs. Second thing, in your city, a lot of meetups happens, and a lot of effort people take in conducting those meetups. So definitely there's something. If you go once a month, that is fine. But definitely you will meet a lot of people and make a good networking, as well as you will learn something new by just having networking with them. Forget about you will learn from the talks which are given and be part of the talk also. So and present yourself, right? It is doesn't matter like how complex things or how easy things you have done. It's more about preparing for a larger audience. It helps you to gain that particular perspective and knowledge while you present it. And you definitely you have to do a lot of research about it and write blogs also. Why not? Hmm. Third thing is uh, join courses, do online webinar, attend online webinars also. Very important part of today's platform engineering is coming from various cloud vendors, a lot of trainings. Other important thing is CNCF, Cloud Native Computing Foundation. A lot of talks happens, webinars on each of the verticals in platform engineering, time to time, every week, every month, and they're pretty deep. If you are really interested in doing stuff right or learning things, best place, just go through their webinars. Live webinars are being conducted by industry experts. They may not be look good while they speak. It's okay, but their knowledge is rich, like anything, uncomparable. So I don't. It's not like I attend all these things, but I don't miss when I have opportunity to do it.
Mhm. Okay.
And last but not least, the only way to be being relevant is doing stuff. So these days I don't do a lot of things hands on, but that doesn't mean that uh, I don't do it. But still, any something new comes, I read. I just open my
Mhm.
virtual box, something on my laptop, and just try it out on my virtual environment and just try things just to get a basic understanding. What is it? How is
Okay.
it functioning? Right. At
Yeah.
least it helped me to get in touch what is happening.
Right.
Whether recently the OpenAI, GenAI came from Azure,
Mm.
from Microsoft. I just touch upon it. I talked about it, checked it, how it is, what is weird about it, right? But I
Mhm.
tried. Even though I am not hands-on, I don't design. My team is designing application on top
Right.
of it, right? But still, I'm in touch what is happening or what is not.
Okay.
This is the only way that you can be relevant and you can keep on learning.
Right. So basically, it's around reading blogs and attending webinars. And these are very frequent as well, right? It's not that you will have to wait and it's readily available. So these are the major ways. Okay. And wherever
And
possible,
being curious,
I
being
think.
curious, right? So yeah, inquisitiveness is important, right? Otherwise you won't catch those signals.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an obvious thing, it happening, it doesn't matter, right? DevOps, everywhere is DevOps, but you go and deeper into the topics, you see,
Right.
really, this belongs to DevOps. How it is belong? Let's
Uh,
go through it. So that the inquiry is
yeah.
required, right?
Yeah. It should come.
At
You
the
should
time.
have that thing within you to kind of
Mhm.
understand and eagerness to know more. Yeah. I think the thing of, so understanding that DevOps does more, right? Kind of bridges the gap between engineering and business, and they also are kind of, in terms of technicalities also, there's a lot that they do, right? I think. Yeah. And I think it's nice that you kind of said there are so many meetups, and even attending those meetups kind of help you a lot. Like you said, if not you totally understand what they talk, at least if you understand the gist of it, you can go back and read on your own and see what it is to get a better understanding of what it is, right? So yeah. Perfect. Cool. Thank you so much for that. And we'll move on to the next question. So, what leadership qualities have you found to be most effective in guiding a software engineering teams, particularly in the context of pioneering solutions and driving innovation?
Mhm. So I'll just talk about what I've learned over the job uh,
Sure. Uh-huh.
for last few years. So one thing is in this particular field, as a platform engineering, or at certain extent, it is function side of the development as well. Right? One thing is that the leader has to be a thought leader. That is gonna be, it plays an important role in understanding and thinking about what comes next, or what should come next also. So, which is more about having a vision about what your team does is aligned with the organization's need or not. So that particular vision and thinking and thought about that vision, right? Having that very clear to leaders, right? Leaders has to be very clear about what they want to do now and later. So that is very important aspect of any leader, I believe any industry, but true with the software industry more than ever. Because 1.5 year back, no one anticipated how the world will change in last 1 year. Um, because of generative AI and other things came into picture, right? So these are the things where leaders should have some time to understand what is happening and then keep a thought, second thought about it, what's gonna happen. And then after that, it comes to into second part of it, which is about strategic planning, right? Now I am being a leader, I'm aware of it because I have more information definitely with respect to my leads and my team members. Definitely, I have little bit more information, which is broader in terms of now what I know. I can anticipate something. So anticipation is important aspect, and your anticipation should be true also. It's just not out of fear; it is out of curiosity and positiveness. You think on things, right? So second aspect on strategic planning. Then basically how you what you anticipate, how you plan it, cut a roadmap around it, help your leaders and your team members to understand what could be the possible milestones and take their help after ensuring that they also on the same page about what you think about what will come. And definitely you have to convince your teammates about it, what you think and why you think about what how the future will look like. Uh, Third thing which is about which I just touched upon that take their help is more about empowering them, building a trust, uh, and definitely you have given a purpose, what they want to do, what they should do. So giving them freedom about solving it. You just help in building the plan, the roadmap, the milestones, remove the blockers for them. But at the end of the day, they need also independence in defining, deciding uh, the how things should be done, what the time frame should take or not. Definitely being leader, you always have the right to ask right questions, help them to come on the right track, improve their estimations and things. But giving independence is important aspect. And, other thing is that how being a leader, right? You are face of the team. What your team does is what reflects in your day-to-day behavior while you speak to other leaders in the entire other departments or not. So this is an important aspect because people judge your team by your behavior as well. I learned in hard way, uh, and this is an important aspect where you have to build that network and collaborative networking across your organization where it helps your team to navigate as well. Uh, uh, Other thing, being a leader, right? You have to act as a coach and sometimes act as a mentor without associating yourself with the outcome or improvement in particular employee or not, or your colleague or not. So it is more about as is mentorship is more about more sort of a responsibility where since you have gained so much of experience is now about make someone's life easier and help them to grow and progress. So bringing building the career path for your reports is very important aspect of being a leader in software because company sizes vary. Sometimes very small, they're sometimes pretty big, complex, right? But everyone wants to do end of the day. And that is where challenges come when you are usually in smaller and medium-sized organizations. That how you build that path. It is just not about the hierarchy. It is sometimes about the portfolio, skills, technologies. It is just not about the numbers of it, or it is not about the volume of work also. It may be quality of work, the visibility people should seek to work towards. So these are the aspects where a leader has to work tirelessly 24/7. It's not like they are opening laptop and working, it's more about the thinking about it also. And whatever they decide, they think, they discuss and put it on paper for each individual so that they can also progress. Last but not the least, the leaders has to be ethically very strong. So the organization which they are working for, the people they are working for, who they report to, right? Everywhere they have to ensure that uh, in everyday behavior, I would say, the, the compromise on ethics part should not come, should not come at all. What are the principles you have set with respect to the organization's need and their vision statement, as well as you have to keep an highest benchmark for it all the time. Never deviate from those and never compromise on it. Because it's easier people to forget what you say, but it's very difficult for them to forget what you did. So they tend to follow their leaders. And that's how the culture builds up, right? So it is very important that you stick to the principal core values of your organization and yourself also without changing and compromising. So I would say these are the things which I would say very general, common, but very relevant to software industry as well, because the dynamism which we have, it, the mix of people we are working with, uh, the challenges from different sides of organization face, right? Right, and the changes which are fast paced and happening in the world, right? It can sometimes uh, shift your beliefs, uh, challenges your beliefs, right? And you're perplexed, you're confused many times. What next? So keep that environment of positiveness, right? Is also an important aspect of leadership. And I believe a lot of people, a lot of leaders struggle the changes which happened in the industry in the last couple of years, at least. So that's what I can summarize how
Mm.
a leader should act, behave, and the, follow the guiding principles to be successful in this role.
Mm. I think you touched on pretty much all major points, and I think the key call outs were, what I at least that I have observed is, I think empowering and building trust, right? While you're doing so many other things, I think that is so key for a team member. That kind of, though everybody wants to grow, make lots of money, I think the trust factor plays a key role in any company, right? It could be from a senior engineering manager reporting to a director, or it's an L1 reporting to a L1 line manager, right? When you the factor that you also mentioned about, you have the right to question and you give them the guidance, but you give them the independence as to how they want to deliver what is expected out of them, right? So basically, I think it's removing the micromanagement factor, so having that, and that can happen only if you have there is trust on both sides, right? From the manager trusting the reportees and vice versa, right? I think that's when that independence kind of grows.
Yeah,
And I think most importantly, the way you kind of spoke so much about acting as a coach, but not expecting out, something that's not calling it out, saying I'm coaching you, but you're going to be responsible for their entire career. And the last, but not the least one, right? Ethically strong. I think that plays a really key factor. Some people kind of change organizations in respect of the position and the money that they get sometimes because of that. So yeah. Thank you so much for
yeah,
that. It definitely shows what kind of a leader you are based on the inputs that you just gave, right? Thank you. So, moving on to the next question, Ashutosh, it's about So it's in the platform engineering area, right? It is very important that you balance long-term goals and short-term goals, right? How do you kind of prioritize these aspects in your career journey? How do you do the balancing act there?
Yeah. The worst and good part with platform engineering is that nothing goes out of your bucket. It's always there. The best practices, what tend to be followed for, whether it's for security, compliance, or whether it is for developer productivity, or it's about reliability, engineering, or whatever it is, right? They need to go hand in hand. So in short term, this is what it should be, that nothing goes out of it, right? But in long term, usually these things, long-term goals are usually driven by the organization's goal or business goals. Now, if you are in tech industry where you create tech and sell tech, right? That could be driven by product roadmap, that what you want to release in a B2B or B2C, it's mostly B2B, that you create a product and you sell it, right? And a lot of developers around the world use it, right? So that could be that one, like in 2 years, you down the line, you are bringing a new feature over there, and then that feature is enhancing their productivity or improving uh, the feature set. If you are in a domain which is non-tech, right, which I am, like e-commerce, for example. So here the goal driven by the business side of things, and that is a hard fact, and we have to understand it. Now these, and here tech is a driving factor. It is not, we call it tech first. It is more about business, because that is we want to do it. End of the day, we want to sell a product, which is not tech. Both the places, there will be a business roadmap which will drive our decisions, right? So business roadmap could be the profitability, it could be improving or increasing the revenue in both places, or increasing the user base which are coming to your platform with the tech. Like for example, a cloud vendor say, I want to have more customers over there, right? Or my customers need this particular platform. Let me develop this platform, right? So maybe 2 years they take to develop that, bring the platform over. Now, important aspect for a team which is in midst of all, which is currently going on, and which strategically leadership and business wants in long term. So one important thing is that you have to ensure that keep a balance on working on these two things. So I remember one of my very senior leaders long back, we had a discussion about the same part, and what he suggested, I still keep on suggesting to my leads also. Always keep a balance. Let's 20 follow T20 rule. 80% you focus on strategic, short term, which is maybe year, annual planning. 20% always keep a strategic focus on the long term. And this is not only because business asks, or leaders ask, because it also gives a sense of improving and doing something which is going to come in some time, in some long run to engineers as well. So because in short term run, right, there are a lot of things you do, but they have an operational aspect as well, which not go well with a lot of engineering. So keeping 20% focus in every sprint, if you follow the sprint model or whatever the model in agile you follow, I always says that keep focus which is more than a year. Right? So that is one aspect of resource management, and the project planning, and the day-to-day working also. Uh, Other thing is, a lot of things when you do, right, there are chances of getting failure also, or being failed. You can fail also. That is fine. Important thing is that how quickly you get a feedback and move forward, and change the course. So course correction, right, based on the data you have, it is what I would say important aspect and thing which a leader should be aware of it and keep on doing it. So keeping a balance on the failure rates versus success rates, right? Keep that in check, is also what leaders should keep a balance out of the failures versus success. Uh, I would say, like, again, some depends on industry, right? So I think this is the major two broader thing which I want to touch upon when I have to keep a balance, resourcing, uh, uh, and prioritization. Second thing is related to uh, related to the adjusting your course correction.
Course correction. Yeah, I think that is a very good tip that you gave provided the 80-20% count, right? Because personally, I've experienced where you're working in your sprint cycles as per the plan. Suddenly, somebody at the top says, "Hey, this is very important. We need to deliver this in the next 4 weeks." So everybody drops everything that they're doing, and everybody is concentrating on what needs to get delivered in the next 4 weeks, right? Then you again go back to what you were doing 4 weeks ago, right? So you kind of
Yeah.
lose that. Whereas, like exactly what you said, what needs to get delivered in the next 4 weeks, maybe dedicate 80% of your time to that. And the remaining 20%, you still stick to the original schedule that was in the sprint cycle,
Yeah.
right?
For the time being, for the short time, you can switch back
Right.
and switch it right. And another is like I believe good leaders understand the complexities of
Right.
the thing,
Yeah.
right? And there's no harm in negotiating back, right?
Yeah.
So even though they came back with some target timeline and they may sound inflexible, but if you go and negotiate at least once, they will understand the perspective. And when it
Yeah.
happens multiple times, I would say that they will be more considerate before coming in next time. So
Yeah.
so
I
that's
think
required, right?
yeah, perfect. I think that's a great takeaway, at least for me personally, to go back and say, because most of the times you're like, oh, it's coming from top down, right? You just cannot. It's not directly say or no, not even negotiate, right? I think yeah, perfect. That was
Yeah, so it is
done
say right,
that.
like
Actually says it,
eh,
shows me your face that you've done this. So
and
sorry.
it is called right that a psychological safe environment is where you can take conflicts.
Absolutely.
If you can't take conflict, then it is not psychologically safe, right? So even good leaders to understand that why the person is always saying yes, right? But when you go for escape level in other meetings, right, then you see that people are
Right.
not happy. They're not happy about the change of course. They're not
Right.
happy. They're complaining why you change. We decide something, you want to do something, and you change it,
Right.
right? And why the players in between always set race? How are you convincing these people? Means people are not convinced, right? So these are the cues which leaders should take and just do a course correction. It is definitely not always one way.
Right.
And I
Absolutely.
believe all the leader, most of the leaders are very, very uh, adjusting in nature.
Right.
They understand, they think, they hear.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. I think that was very well said. Go back and learn, negotiate about it. Yeah. Yeah. I think and just saying yes always is also dangerous. So yeah, it's a good one. Thank you so much for that, Ashutosh. Okay, so here's a final question for the day. Uh, so finally, what are your key tips for a budding professional to grow and excel in his or her career?
I think it's pretty close to my heart because I do mentoring in my current organization and I
Okay.
love to reach out to people like or people want to reach out and they for something I definitely want to help as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But being a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
so few things which came to my observation when I mentor them, I work with them.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely expecting them to think to behave the way you are doing at this level after 20 years is not what right thing to do. They are
Mm-hmm.
at a place where they have their own challenges, which might seem trivial for me at my level. So
Right.
first thing is that I don't want to judge, right? The whatever problem they have their problem and they are very genuine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what the problem they face, right? How to tackle those problems is what. First thing is they need to be mentor. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have it, find one,
Okay.
and you don't have to stick with one. If you
Okay.
don't find satisfaction, you everything is finished from that mentor. Find another one, but you have to have if you want to grow. Otherwise, your growth will be slow. So you can always learn from your experience, but you learn faster and grow faster if you learn from someone else's experience as well.
Agreed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So finding a mentor is mandatory
Yeah.
for anyone who wants to grow. Otherwise, struggle and learning and struggling is the only way left. Second thing is learning. When mentor is right, he will push you to learn something new for sure. But it is more about getting content with what you are doing. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the inquisitive aspect or the questioning aspect of yours and accepting everything which is coming as is, right? Should be avoided. So keep learning. Mm. There is no shortcuts here. And you don't have to learn everything. This is where you need a mentor, a coach, and experts in industry where you can follow them on Twitter or LinkedIn, where they
Mm-hmm.
keep on giving suggestions,
Right.
what to do, what to do. So in your area of interest, find your area of interest and follow those. So uh, 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 there's a trainer in Bangalore who does training on Linux development,
Mm-hmm.
and he very well said once that if you want to write a story,
Mm-hmm.
you have to read other authors, or you want to write, right? Same thing for software engineers. If you want to write a good code, you have to read other people's code. You have to read from other people's experiences, what they do, what they say, why they say, because a lot of richness is in the experience, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
to find every opportunity to meet such legends. Although they are not celebrities like film industry, right? But they are celebrity in their own domain,
Right.
right? Because this is necessary. You can't say that I want to write a better code, but looking without looking at or retrospecting where your code is missing, what is missing in the code, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you see, the center of the world is that learning from people's experience and just giving multiple factors to it.
Right.
Third thing is that uh, we touched upon this thing sometime back, that collaboration.
Yeah.
Hmm. Which other thing is that networking is more about building a network connection, not within your organization, across your organization. I've
Mm.
seen a lot of time engineers get things done faster
Yeah.
than their managers could get it done. Reason is get a alignment also, because by the time the alignment is done, engineers at the ground level just sync up. Oh, let's do it. They just went to a cafeteria, opened the laptop, and did it. So this is this is the power of networking, right?
Right.
At your level. You can bypass all sort of formal thing and you can just do it. And do you do it in your own time? No one is come back and say why you did it. I have time, I did it, right? Sort of. But it's a good learning and collaboration when you do with people having a complementary skill sets
Right.
and what to work upon. So it is
Right.
important to have a good networking. Uh, Look for constructive feedback. Hmm.
Okay.
Don't
Mm.
wait that. So in short, right, you have to take ownership of your career. When I say look for a mentor will not reach out to you.
Mhm.
So you have to reach out to people. You have to reach out to the people who can give the right guidance to you. You have to reach out to your manager. Give me feedback. Where
Mm.
am I missing? What I am missing? Why do you think I am missing? What should I do differently? Because every manager has to coach also to their reporting.
Mm.
So, but managers who tend to do it, but it's more about if someone is coming and asking these questions, managers usually leaders go one step ahead in helping out.
Agree. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make it more active rather being reactive in this situation, because it's manager's job to do a one-on-one. No? Huh?
Yeah.
You put up an invite in their calendar and ask for their time. I want to meet. I
Right.
want a feedback because I haven't got a feedback last month. I want it right now.
Okay.
So take control of your career.
Mm.
Uh, right. So this is about embrace feedback.
Yeah.
Welcome feedback. Don't take it negatively, but take it and
Mm.
question everything. Why you're giving this feedback? What are the data points you have it to do
Mm.
against this thing? And because it's not about you have to counter question. It's more about you need to know the perspective.
Right.
Hmm. Other thing I would say that avoid gossips. Although being junior and thing, right, you love to discuss things which happening in the company, in the group, within the departments and thing, right? And it gives a lot of a good feeling end of the day while come out of the resolution. But I strongly recommend avoid gossip. Gossip is more about if I define it right from dictionary meaning also, right? It is something not right thing to do. It does not take your career anywhere. Hmm. You discuss about CEO's policies or HR policies, just keep on discussing. And end of the day, there is no conclusion you can get it. You spend couple of hours, maybe couple hours, many hours a week or months, but the outcome will remain visible. It's better to reach out to them,
Right.
put your problem in front of them, right? Put your data point, put your logic in front of them. That is always acceptable. If they will answer, they will give you. If they don't have it, they will get back to you.
Right.
At the worst case, they say, I don't care. That is really, it happens, but rarely. But at the end of the day, it will seen as a positive because you are reaching out. You are not keeping mum. People
Right.
don't, yeah, it, I feel, I believe like people take it very positively because it
Mm-hmm.
shows that you own, you
Yeah.
own, you feel the ownership to be in the company. You have a sense of belonging to that company. That's why you're reaching out. Otherwise, why why am I bothered about what is policy change happening?
Right.
So avoid gossips at any cost. It will not happen. It
Mm-hmm.
will not happen. Uh, End of the day, right? Adapt and enjoy the work. So there are people I have seen a lot of junior folks who have really adapted, put up a routine in their work. They go to gym. They participate in all the activity which is happening within the organization outside also. They go and run for long. They go for trekking. Take long leaves as well. But at the same time, they are the best performer also,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? They when they come back and they just deliver like anything and left and right, and they're always available to solve anyone's problem when they are there, right? So you see, right? They found the right balance.
Right.
So saying that work will not be there, there's a work-life balance. I think I'm just putting it new, different context of work-life balance in a way that work will be there, it will not never go away,
Agreed.
right? So it is more about like how you balance your need, your hobbies, the things interest to you, as well as work is also should be interest to you. When you see a work, something which gives you satisfaction at the end of the day, then it's a hobby, right? You can't say I'm working because I have to fill my stomach. I can do anything. That is not why you are here. And software engineering is an intellectual job, end of the day, right? You hmm. So if for intellectual job, you have to do deep thinking, spend hours in doing reworking, right? Which is impossible in other industries, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of time you are devoting on that work. So it is just not just to fill your stomach. It's a passion. You have it. That's why you are here. So these are few things that you have to enjoy. Enjoy within the gamut and the framework the organization has given to you.
Right.
So that's what I say. Be adaptable. The
Mhm.
policy is there. It is not for you. It is for everyone.
Right.
It is even for managers also. They are not getting any privilege thing. So if they are adjusting, you should learn, start adjusting at this point. It's easier for you to navigate further.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, cool. I think those were great ones, Ashutosh, from the beginning, like what you ended up saying, always choose to have a mentor. I think one of the key things that you said is about collaborating and networking. I have found it personally in my own experience, it works very well faster with the engineers, over a cup of coffee, asking them if they could do this because of their
Yeah,
inquisitiveness. It's something new that they want to do rather than going through the manager. Then there's a process, there's an approval, creating a sprint
right.
cycle. I've kind of done these. I would call it like behind the scenes, right? Which
And
happens.
there's no harm in doing it. And this is where this is organization, right? And we call it organization, where
Yeah,
group of people working together, organized, right?
yeah.
So it has to be done this way. It is nothing. There's nothing bad about it.
Right, right.
These are people working with people, right?
Absolutely. Right. So I can completely vouch for that collaboration and networking, right? Most of the times I've got my work done that way and then taken the actual the right path of the process and approvals and so on, where I already get a bind from the engineer who anyways is the person who's going to finally do the groundwork to deliver. Right. So yeah, I think that was a very nice point. And I like the way you kind of keep touching about, in the previous part when the leadership, you mentioned about being ethically strong and now talking about how to avoid gossip, right? These seem simple things, but they do end up playing a great role. And, end of the day, when you grow ultimately and become the face of the team, I think all of these characters kind of represent you, right? Otherwise, yeah. So I think you kind of tied it very well in every question as to these factors which are not very evident and not most of the times 90% of the people don't even talk about these things, right? Ethics and gossip and stuff like that. But I think you touching upon it actually it makes the leader 100% complete, right? So great, great. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It was great talking to you to know about your career growth, right? And it was wonderful having you on my talk.
Thanks, Shimla, for providing this opportunity. In fact, I'm really happy that somewhere the thoughts are going out and maybe touch few people. That is okay. But
Yeah.
end of the day, if it helps someone, I'm really glad that this discussion is did its job.
Sure, sure. I am sure it will make a difference in quite a few people's lives. So thank you so much again, Ashutosh. You have a
Thanks,
lovely
Shimla.
day
Thanks a
ahead.
lot.
Talk to you
Same
soon.
to you. Bye.
Bye. Hey everyone, I hope you've had some great takeaways from this conversation with Ashutosh. I think some of the main inputs and takeaways are how it is very important for you to have a mentor at the early stages of your career so that you learn from others' experience instead of learning it the hard way. How you don't indulge yourself in gossips and how you're more ethically right. How you continue to keep learning so that you make progress, especially in the advancing technology, which keeps changing every day. It's more important. And how you can keep yourself updated is to read blogs, attend meetups, even write your own blogs so that you have a better understanding of what you're doing and what you would want to learn. And most important, he also mentioned was about collaborating and networking as well. I hope you do implement some of these in your career and see some progress. And please leave your comments. See you soon in the next episode. Thank you.